What if your entire reality, every memory, every sensation, every moment, was just a simulation? What if your world was nothing more than an elaborate program created by an advanced civilization? Some of the world's most brilliant minds, from physicists to philosophers, believe that this might actually be true. And the evidence? It's more convincing than you could ever imagine. Pause for dramatic effect. In this video, we're diving deep into simulation theory, exploring the science, philosophy, and technology behind the idea that your reality might just be an illusion. Simulation theory isn't just a modern idea, it has ancient roots. Philosophers throughout history have questioned the nature of reality. In ancient Greece, Plato's allegory of the cave proposed that humans might be living in a shadow of the real world, bound by the limitations of their perceptions. Fast forward to the 17th century, René Descartes introduced the evil demon argument, suggesting that a powerful being could be deceiving us into thinking the world we experience is real. This idea laid the foundation for modern philosophical explorations into the nature of existence. But it wasn't until recent advances in technology that simulation theory evolved into a serious scientific discussion. Now, with the rapid development of computing power, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality, we're revisiting these ancient questions with new tools. Simulation theory has gone from a philosophical musing to a legitimate hypothesis that some of the world's top scientists are considering. Let's break down why some scientists and philosophers think we might be living in a simulation. The crux of the argument lies in the statistical probability. Philosopher Nick Bostrom suggests that if advanced civilizations can create simulations, they would likely create countless simulated worlds, far more than real ones. Now consider the math. If there are billions of simulated worlds and only one real world, the odds are staggeringly in favor of us living in one of those simulations. Let's take it a step further. Think of how rapidly our own technology is advancing. We've gone from simple two-dimensional video games to fully immersive virtual environments in just a few decades. Imagine what we could achieve in 100 or even 1,000 years. If we can simulate reality, it's only logical to assume other civilizations, far more advanced than ours, could be doing the same. Philosopher René Descartes asked a question that still resonates today. How do we know that our senses are giving us an accurate picture of reality? What if, as Descartes suggested, a powerful entity, a demon, or in today's terms, a supercomputer, was deceiving us? Quantum mechanics may offer some of the most tantalizing clues that we're living in a simulation. One of the most mind-boggling phenomena in quantum physics is the concept of superposition, where particles exist in multiple states at once until they're observed. It's as if reality waits for a conscious observer to make a choice before it becomes real. Think about it. This is strikingly similar to how video games render worlds only when a player is present. Could our universe be doing the same, waiting to be observed before locking into a definite state? In the double slit experiment, particles behave like waves when unobserved, but when they're watched, they collapse into particles. This bizarre behavior has led some scientists to speculate that we might be living in a programmed universe. Reality, as we know it, could be an illusion that adapts based on the presence of observers. Even the concept of quantum entanglement, where two particles are mysteriously connected across vast distances, has led researchers to wonder if there's a deeper, programmed code that governs the universe. We're already experimenting with our own simulations. Look at the rise of virtual reality. Today, we can put on a headset and enter a completely different world, one that feels almost real. In games like The Sims or Minecraft, we control entire worlds. We create, destroy, and manipulate these environments. If we can do this now, imagine what will be possible in the next 100 years. Could it be that we're not the creators, but the created? Just as we build virtual worlds for entertainment, could an advanced civilization have built our world for some purpose we can't even comprehend? Maybe we're characters in someone else's simulation. If we're creating virtual worlds today, what if one day we created simulations so real that the beings within them didn't know they were simulated? Could we, ourselves, be the architects of future simulated realities, continuing the cycle? Now let's talk about the rapid growth of artificial intelligence. AI systems are becoming increasingly sophisticated, capable of learning, adapting, and even mimicking human thought. If we're already developing AI that can think and make decisions, how far off are we from creating AI that becomes self-aware? Moore's law tells us that computing power doubles every 2 years. This exponential growth means that in just a few decades, we could have computers powerful enough to simulate entire worlds in exquisite detail. Simulations where the inhabitants have no idea they're living in a virtual environment. And here's the kicker. We might already be on the brink of creating these simulated realities ourselves. If we, in our current state of technology, are this close, imagine what civilizations far more advanced than us could have achieved. Could we one day look at our own AI creations and wonder, are they questioning their reality, just like we are right now? One of the biggest questions simulation theory raises is, what is consciousness? Are we truly conscious beings, or just complex lines of code running on some advanced system? Philosophers and scientists have long debated the nature of consciousness. But in a simulated world, this question becomes even more complicated. If we are simulations, does that mean our thoughts, emotions, and experiences are artificial? Or could we still be conscious beings, even in a simulated environment? Some scientists argue that consciousness could arise in a simulated world, just as it does in a biological one. If our brains are just highly sophisticated machines, then why couldn't consciousness be generated within a digital system? Some researchers are even suggesting that consciousness itself might be a byproduct of the universe's code, that we might be programmed to perceive reality in a specific way. So if we're living in a simulation, our consciousness could be just as real to us as anything else. But not everyone agrees with simulation theory. Many scientists argue that simulating an entire universe, down to the smallest quantum detail, would require unimaginable amounts of computing power. The complexity of our universe, they say, makes it nearly impossible to simulate. And then there's the lack of definitive proof. Some say simulation theory is nothing more than a modern-day version of Descartes' evil demon, or Plato's cave, an interesting thought experiment, but not something that can be tested. Ethically, this theory also raises serious questions. If we are in a simulation, why simulate suffering? What purpose would a simulated world have for things like war, poverty, or disease? What does it say about our creators, if they exist? And perhaps knowing that this reality could be simulated doesn't diminish the value of our lives, but enhances it. If our consciousness exists, if we love, fear, and hope, then those experiences are as real as anything else, whether it's coded or not. Some argue that this gives us a unique kind of agency. Even if we're in a simulation, the choices we make, the values we live by, are still our own. If this life is simulated, maybe it's an opportunity to live with greater purpose, to seek meaning in a world where nothing is guaranteed. What's more, simulation theory introduces an even deeper question. What is the purpose of life in a simulation? Is it a test, an experiment, or could it be something beyond our understanding? Maybe instead of asking whether our lives are real, we should be asking, what do we want to make of this life, simulated or not? If you knew this reality wasn't the only one, how would that change the way you live your life right now? As we look ahead, researchers are working on ways to test the simulation hypothesis. Some physicists are searching for signs of glitches in our universe, imperfections in cosmic background radiation, quantum irregularities, or strange phenomena that could suggest a digital architecture behind the scenes. In the future, we may have the tools to definitively prove whether or not we live in a simulation. Imagine the world waking up to that realization. What would it mean for society, for religion, for science? How would it change our understanding of morality, ethics, or even death? But here's something even more fascinating. If we are simulations, what's stopping us from creating simulations of our own? As AI and computing power advance, we may one day simulate realities that are indistinguishable from our own, continuing the cycle of simulated worlds within simulated worlds. Would we then become the architects of new realities, creating life within our simulations? Could we be on the verge of becoming the creators instead of the created? One question that's often asked by proponents of simulation theory is, if this is a simulation, can we break out of it? Could we somehow hack reality, bending the rules of our existence? Think of the stories we tell, from The Matrix to Inception. We're fascinated by the idea of discovering that our world isn't real, and then finding a way to escape or manipulate it. In some ways, this mirrors ancient spiritual teachings. Many religions speak of transcending this world, of reaching higher realms of existence. Is simulation theory just a modern version of this ancient quest for enlightenment? If our universe is coded, could we find a way to exploit the code, bending the rules of physics, or even escaping to a higher level of reality? What if there are clues hidden in the very fabric of our universe, waiting for us to discover them? Some theorists suggest that if we are in a simulation, the true test may be whether we can wake up from it. What do you think? Could you break free from a simulation if you knew you were in one? So, after everything we've explored, what does simulation theory really mean for us? Whether we're living in a simulation or not, the important question isn't necessarily about the nature of reality itself. It's about how we choose to live in it. If we are in a simulation, does that change the value of our relationships, our actions, or our goals? I would argue that it doesn't. We still experience joy, love, curiosity, and wonder. We still have the power to make choices that shape the world around us, whether that world is real or simulated. So, maybe the real takeaway from simulation theory isn't whether the universe is real or not, but what we do with the life we have. Because in the end, what matters isn't the nature of the code, it's the way we live within it. If this video has opened your mind, hit subscribe for more explorations into the mysteries of existence. Join the conversation in the comments. What do you think? Are we living in a simulation? And if so, what would you do differently?
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a like. Join Think Wiser for more wisdom and insights to elevate your life.